Good afternoon, everybody. We will be getting started in approximately 1 minute. Good afternoon, everybody. We would like to welcome you to today's Modern Workplace webinar with MarxModa. Before we get started, there's a couple of housekeeping items. We would love to take your questions. Please ask any and all questions through the Q&A panel. We will do our best to get through all of your questions at the end of today's conversation. With that, I would like to introduce today's speaker. We have Brian Johnson from MarxModa. Brian has been with the MarxModa sales team since 2011. He brings positive persistence, curiosity, active listening, and thoughtful insights to every project. He can be counted on to take big ideas and translate them into tangible, actionable plans, driving value for his clients and partners. Brian is responsible for the overall client experience, acting as the key conduit between all stakeholders to ensure that project teams stay in alignment around MarxModa's partners' long-term goals and aspirations. Now, a little bit about MarxModa, because I have found them quite delightful. So MarxModa is Central and Southeastern Michigan's certified Herman Miller dealer. MarxModa is determined to make a difference in everything they do by offering customers a level of excellence in product and service that is unmatched throughout the industry. They strive to be true partners for their clients, working to understand their unique culture, current and future technology needs, and key business processes, and then use placemaking expertise to create innovative solutions that will enhance well-being and drive results. MarxModa is a woman-owned business led by Whitney Marx. It is their commitment to inclusion across race, gender, age, religion, identity, and experience that makes the team successful and allows them to better serve the communities they live and work in. MarxModa hopes they can make a difference for you. So, welcome, Brian. I'm so happy to have you on with us again. How are you doing today?
Hi, everyone. I am well. Thankfully, COVID free. What a crazy time, but doing well. And I'm in our Detroit office today and looking at just a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. So thanks to everyone for hopping on, and thanks to the Red Level team for facilitating. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started. I know we have a lot of information we want to get through, and we've had some great conversations prior to this at the summit and even leading up into today's session. So first off, digital transformation. 2020 has been a heck of a year, and digital transformation has been at the core of keeping things going. But what I want to know is, what started MarxModa's path towards digital transformation?
Yeah, that is a great question that I think about a lot. Digital transformation, it's when we talk about it in this context, I think it feels very broad, perhaps nebulous, but in application, it kind of manifests itself in very small things. So for us, we really started to get serious about digital probably the middle point of 2017. And a couple things were happening to us that, I'll talk about specifically, but I think everyone on this call is going to find common ground here. And that's, there's this whole idea about convergence of expectations. So I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but it's this idea that perhaps industries or companies that historically have had nothing to do with whatever you do are influencing customers' expectations and opinions for how they should work with you. And we certainly saw that. You know, a silly example that I can give is Domino's Pizza. So I'm in the contract furniture space. So we help organizations articulate their hopes and aspirations for their corporate real estate. We don't have anything to do with pizza, but Domino's has found a way to let you know when a pizza pie hits the oven, and they'll send that to you on your phone. I don't know why you need to know that information, but I'll be darned, I like knowing it's there. And we've had customers now expect more detailed communications from us. So that was one of the big things. We knew we had to pivot because customers were kind of expecting us to do that. The second one was the way we were working was increasingly becoming unsustainable. There was just too much information to manage, and we couldn't do it with pieces of paper and fillable PDFs and basic Excel files. We knew we needed to get smarter there, or we weren't going to be able to stay on top of the demands that we faced. So for us, we're responsible for the central part of Michigan as well as the southeast central part of Michigan, including Detroit. But we had a small team that met in Lansing, and we started to think through, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to get smarter about basically managing information? And one of the things that was brought to my attention, a tool that I honestly had not heard of, was this Microsoft Teams. And then the same person that shared that with me also shared another Microsoft tool called Microsoft Planner. And I was aware as a company, we had an Office 365 account and there were things there, but honest to goodness, I'd never really explored it. And that was kind of the catalyst for a really deep dive, both by myself and by others. So what we did then and have since gotten much better at is we've kind of taken our processes and to some extent we've digitized them. So I don't know if folks are familiar with Microsoft Planner. It's a basic task management tool. What's great is that it helps teams, especially teams that aren't in the same place, stay on top of projects, of moving targets, of items that must get done. And you can delineate that information in any number of ways. So what we did is we used Teams almost immediately as a way to communicate. And then we also put a lot of the tools that we were using within Teams, which is kind of a neat little thing. Megan, if it's okay, I'm going to share our Microsoft Teams page.
Absolutely. We would love to see it. Let's see your Teams in action.
Let's do it.
Because I know from our perspective, both Teams and Planner have been a lifesaver when it comes to making sure that all of our teams are staying on track and staying in collaboration with each other, whether it's for some of the projects that we're working on, for our different teams, our different units, internal, external. It has made a world of difference since we've really been implementing and using the different features and functions in Planner.
Oh, 100%. Could not agree more. So forgive me, I'm going to go basic, but like I discussed before, you can use Teams for a lot of different functions. We've created as an organization a couple of different Teams pages. We're currently looking at one of our project team pages, and you can see where folks are posting content, including me.
Hey, Brian, can you do us a quick favor and flip over to your Teams screen? Right now, we're just seeing the webinar screen right now.
How does that work? You see it?
Not quite yet.
Here we go.
So from your perspective, when you are working in Teams within Planner, what is kind of your favorite way of working through some of the tools and the actions that you use, or what are some of the the everyday things, the ways that you're using Planner to enhance what you're doing for your clients.
Sorry.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So can you see our
Yep. We
posting
can see your teams now.
Perfect. So it's kind of silly, but we use this often just to stay in alignment as groups on the things that we're working. We don't have many rules for what we post. The area that I've come to rely on the most are these 3 tabs right up here. So these tabs link to Microsoft Planner, which is, I referenced before, our task management tool. So we can kind of see the work that we do and where it's at in real time. So we have different categories for different types of information. We use that as a way to kind of delineate responsibility and also delineate complexity. And then we've structured this so that it works from the left to the right. So as we go through different phases in our project process, we can see where certain items are located. It sounds basic, but I think for a lot of organizations, including ours, before we did this, we really had no way to keep our extended groups of people in alignment around what we were doing. Perhaps there's a problem that needs to be resolved. It was all being done through email, and that again, that just became too much to manage. I think the other neat thing that I'd love for folks to see is this charts function. So this is another way where you can get a little more analytical about the work that you're doing, the quantities in which you're doing it, who's responsible for what. So we came to rely on that quite a bit too. So we have 3 different planner pages. Basically what we did, and we've gotten really good at, is we want to see all the stuff that we're working on, all the stuff that's with a customer, and then all the stuff that we're in the process of kind of executing or installing. So we were looking at all the things that we're working on today. If I went to kind of our project work that is in varying forms of installation, we can see that there, and it's just tremendously helpful. And we've got embedded, I'll share more on that in a second, but we've got embedded information there that just keeps our group in alignment on who's doing what. So hopefully that kind of helps give you an understanding of how we started and how we've kind of built that moving forward.
And that allows your team across the board, whether it's from your sales team to your operations team to fulfillment teams, to be able to see everything all in one place, right?
Correct. Yep, absolutely.
Now, I'm curious how you did mention your favorite analogy in terms of pizza and being able to see when it goes into the oven. I know we had talked about how you've been able to take some of these tools and be able to utilize them for enhancing some of your clients' experiences. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so, I think often with digital transformations, you'll learn one thing and then that builds on learning something else. So we're still kind of looking at our Microsoft Planner page here. I learned probably sometime in 2018 that the work that we were doing with these planner tasks, I could connect to another Microsoft product called Power Automate. And Power Automate is just it's very simplified automation that anyone can understand. And I'll be the first to raise my hand. I am not a big technology guy. I'm a salesperson. I'm very happy being on the sales side of things, but I was able to pick up on this. It took some effort, but it's fairly straightforward. And the point that I'm driving towards is I realized, hey, as we were updating each other, we could use that activity to automatically update a Microsoft SharePoint site for the benefit of a customer. And so, Megan, I'm glad you brought that up. So we know that customers are going to demand more from us in the future than they did today. And when you have folks like Amazon and even Domino's Pizza providing intelligent notifications more or less in real time, you're crazy not to think that a customer is going to start to expect that from you. So we transition, and I'm going to share a different screen here. Bear with me. Can you see the PowerPoint, Megan?
Yep. If you could flip it over to the presentation mode so we can get a better look at it, that would be great.
Absolutely. All right, there we go.
Perfect.
So we worked on building for one of our large customers a private SharePoint site that would enable them to do kind of a couple basic things. One, instead of relying on phone calls and emails, we could create a structured way that they could engage with us. So you'll see up at the top here, we created links where they could request different types of service, whether perhaps they needed, it was a warranty item, or they needed some new furniture. We could do that, and then we wanted to put them in the driver's seat of all the things that they were asking us for. So we have a process, and to move from a request from a customer to a fully realized whatever that is. So for us, that could be a new chair, that could be a new floor plate of furniture and everything in between. We have certain milestones that are going to be hit. And so what we were able to do is just keep the customer in the loop on those milestones. And the magic of it was, it didn't require any additional work from anybody on our team. As we were keeping each other notified in Planner, we could use that activity to automatically update this SharePoint site. So we're kind of looking at the front page here. We've got a few more slides. I'll show you, we can provide different types of news and updates to a customer. We can detail, for us, an installation schedule. So we're showing this customer where we're engaging with them across the state on either new furniture or service type requests. And then we've got what Microsoft calls a list location. So what we're looking at here are all their requests and where those requests are at within our project development cycle. And then you'll notice we've got different types of milestone information. So we've got, when did we acknowledge this request? Who requested it? Who from our team is working on it? Where would this request ultimately be going? So we're showing location information. It's really powerful. And again, no person is having to manually input that. It's not like doing an Excel file. You can use Microsoft tools to just almost monitor your activity and update the SharePoint site as you do certain things. And if we were to click on one of these list items, you can even see more information. And so what we joke internally, I kind of call it the snowball effect, because as we do more work on a request for a customer, you end up knowing much more about that request. And so the request builds. So when we get to the point of installation, we know a lot more about like a ship date versus when they originally wanted it, who on our team is managing the order. We can track request types, and again, which, this is indicating a warehouse that would have gone to. It's really cool. And then probably the final thing that I would show here, Megan, is just that, we can help a customer out by creating a common space where we can save important information. So here's just a screenshot of some of the types of information that we've shared with this customer, like, for example, how to use the site, or, for example, how we need to work together when we send, when we don't do installation, when we send product direct to site, for example. So that has been absolutely huge. So I kind of talked about, we started in 2017. Mm-hmm. We went live with this tool, I believe, in February of 2019. So it has been a journey for us, but it's been a huge hit. In fact, it's gone so well, that's why you and I have gotten to know each other, right? Because we realized early on, hey, this is probably version 1.0. We think this is going to benefit a lot of customers. We need to work with somebody that we trust that can help take this to the next level. And so, Red Level has just done such a fantastic job for us in terms of helping us think through what would a 2.0 version look like, what would the common framework be, where are there areas for improvement, how do we create simplifications. It was a lot of work, but I'll say it was a lot of fun too. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And that kind of tees us up or brings us to kind of the next point, which is, we've heard a bit about kind of where you started from a digital transformation perspective and how you progressed through that. Where was MarxModa when COVID-19 hit? So you had started on your version 1.0. If I recall correctly, we engaged with you right as things were getting a little bit crazy. Yeah. I wanted to see, based on some of the things that have happened throughout the last 8 or 9 months now, what has shifted for you, or what have you been able to accomplish thanks to some of the digital transformation initiatives you had already started running with?
Yeah, I mean, we're, with humility, we're super fortunate because, when COVID became broadly known to be quite serious, we had already accomplished as teams some important things. So I think if you're unfamiliar with contract furniture, the one thing that I'll tell you is, often working with customers requires our folks to be off-site, right? So if our job is to help you realize your aspirations for your culture, for your people, we really have to see your space. We're going to engage with you there. So we're quite good as team members of working in disparate locations and kind of using technology to keep us in sync. So when COVID did hit, actually when Governor Whitmer shut everything down for a bit, we had already decided probably a week earlier that we were going to at least temporarily work from home and see how things played out. So we didn't really notice much of a loss in productivity or missing the mark for customers. We already kind of had that cadence going. I will say that as COVID has progressed, it's probably reinforced even more, on our side, that we need to continue to invest in thinking through our digital transformation and thinking through how we stay in alignment across different locations.
Absolutely. So you had mentioned that while you were going through this, you had done a version 1.0 and had now moved from version 1.0 over to version 2.0. Is there any way we could see what version 2.0 is going to look like?
Absolutely. Let me share that.
That would be great.
And actually, Megan, I'll say we've edited it partially for this presentation, so I don't, folks aren't going to see the real customer, but the broad intent, that they'll be able to see that. Absolutely.
Definitely want to keep your client's privacy private.
Sure. So this is a working version of what we're calling our Dashboard 2.0 that Red Level helped us with. So you'll notice what's great about SharePoint is It's a very flexible platform that enables probably unlimited kind of design capabilities. So this is a dashboard that's far more simplified. We're trying to help more users get to the right locations faster. That's one of the design changes that we made as a group. You'll also notice that the previous dashboard that I had shown had multiple list locations. Here we have 3. And each one becomes a category for a broad type. So in this case, this list location is for furniture. We have another location for service, and then we have a final location for warranty repair. We had also used on our previous dashboard, we'd used Microsoft Forms, which I think a lot of people have intimacy with. It's basically an online, almost like polling tool that you can use in a variety of ways. Red Level helped us build more of a custom application within Power Apps to do the same type of function. So if I click on a new furniture request, we've engaged Power Apps, and now we have some information that an end user would submit to request some type of furniture from us. And without getting too silly, I think a big thing that we've learned is that, you know, to the extent that you can do smart things on the front side, that is typically correlated with a better experience on the backside. So when we can help customers communicate with us, especially in terms of giving us the information that we need to move accurately and expeditiously on their behalf, we're usually more able to do it. And so emails kind of get tricky with customers because oftentimes you don't think to provide everything that may be needed to assist. So this was huge. I think the other thing that Red Level did very well for us is you'll notice some nice little color coding. They used JSON to help kind of an end user pick up on where something's at. I mean, we all notice colors before we notice words. So the ability to communicate in a color-coded way with a customer on their type of request and where it's at has been really powerful. So this is version 2.0. What this should help us to do moving forward is roll these out. I don't want to say it's like copy and paste, but we should be able to produce more of these faster. And credit to Red Level for helping us to build the framework to make that possible.
Absolutely. That way you can help more of your clients in an easier fashion.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so next up, what, if anything, has really changed for MarxModa since the pandemic hit? So I know from our perspective, you know, we went from, there was a lot of on-premise infrastructure type needs that we were starting to handle. And then all of a sudden, everything pivoted, and it was work from home, it was laptops, it was VPN, it was what is Teams? How do we use Teams? Those types of initiatives. So I'd be curious to see how you have been able to pivot through your digital transformation journey in order to address the new normal.
Yeah, I mean, you know, certainly what I thought 2020 would be about is not turning into anything that I expected, but I think the fundamentals of where we thought we were going to go, perhaps in 2019, like December of 2019, are the same, haven't changed much. We know we need to continue to invest in a digital ecosystem. We know that the customers are expecting to communicate with us far more often in digital ways. That can even include social media. We know that customer purchasing preferences are often impacted in the social and digital space before they even engage with somebody like myself. So, I think we're excited in terms of some of the things that we've done, and we want to continue to reinforce that. But we also know that I think like many organizations, we've got a lot of work to do. Long road in front of us.
Absolutely. So as you're looking forward and into the future, what are your plans? How are you going to expand upon this digital transformation and be able to, whether it's new initiatives or refining of current initiatives, or taking a look at where you started, how you've come, and what tweaks you could make to things? What are things looking like for the future?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm dreaming about, and I know I'm probably getting over technical with it, but I'm dreaming about a unified data ecosystem. And what I mean by that is, I saw firsthand when we started using digital tools and then connected the data or the information that was either being used or being created with other digital tools, that profoundly made people's lives better, including my own. My suspicion is that we will all have to deal with more data tomorrow than we did today, and that's only going to accelerate. So to the extent that organizations can get their data within the same ecosystem, enabling it to be able to move with fluidity, or to use tools like Power BI to analyze different types of information, I think everyone will be better off. You should notice substantial improvements. So we're just getting started. I mean, I think what we've started to do well, and we're growing with these dashboards, is the tools in which we're communicating with customers, we're starting to sync up, but we really need to sync those with some of our back-end systems, particularly from an analytics standpoint, and using that information to drive better strategies and drive better ways to serve customers. So I think that's going to be a heavy lift. There will be a lot of work there, but could not be more excited to do that. I think it's huge.
Absolutely. Now, we have had quite a few questions come in already, so I would like to give anybody who might have any additional questions a chance to get those into the Q&A panel. In the meantime, Brian, this has been absolutely insightful. I love to see what you have been able to do with these tools. But one of the first questions that came in that we would love your perspective on is, we have issues with people using the tools in Microsoft 365. How was adoption for MarxModa, and how did you approach user adoption?
Yeah, that's a good question. That is a great question. Because that's really hard, right? Everybody's level of intimacy with technology is different. So how do you do it? I think in general, my recommendation would be, to the fullest extent you can, look for win-wins. What helped in our journey is we were solving problems that when fixed would benefit all stakeholders involved. So everyone had a skin in the game to see this succeed. But it doesn't happen overnight. All leaders, I think, have to be reminded of the fact that it's okay to be redundant. Sometimes we have to say things again and again and again for certain concepts to sink in. So we've done a lot of internal training. We've done a lot of kind of explaining how we expect our processes to go and why certain things are important. But when you're creating conditions that should people adhere, their experience gets better, it does make the onboarding process a whole lot easier.
Absolutely. Now, the next one is kind of a two-pronged question. First of which is, how did you decide which tools to use in Microsoft 365? And then second part of that question, how did you get buy-in from leadership to push forward with that Teams and Planner integration that you had shown us?
Yeah, there wasn't, great question. I mean, there wasn't, we didn't know really what products to use. What we knew is that we had a problem that we really needed to get on top of before things got out of hand. In some sense, we got lucky. I mean, we have a lot of smart people over here, and we had some folks that were already using these tools that, when explained kind of the current condition and what the challenges were, started to point folks like me in a direction. Hey, you should consider using Teams as a way to collaborate when you're traveling, or hey, have you thought about using Microsoft's task management tool, Planner? And once those things were pointed out, we really started to invest in doing our own due diligence about, will this work? Is this scalable? Will we get buy-in? Things like that. No, we have a very cool leadership team. I would say probably a mantra would be, let the best idea prevail. So I think once we kind of explained what the current condition was, how these solutions we were developing would make an impact for ourselves and for our customers, showing some details on time savings or impact with customer, there was no resistance. It was full steam ahead. In fact, it was really our leadership team that encouraged me to get serious about version 2.0 for that dashboard and really using the services from Red Level to help us do that.
Wonderful. Another question that came in, has this saved your team time putting these processes in place?
Yeah, great question. I mean, substantially so. I mean, it's not even close. I can give you some metrics that mean a lot to me. I'll do my best to try and make it mean a lot to everyone else. When we engage with large customers, you'll notice that the volume of their requests can grow exponentially. So before we got serious with managing information and using the tools that I've described, our teams were probably able at best to handle 2 or 3 new requests each day. That was about it. We just, and folks would be stressed at that level. I mean, there's a lot that we have to do with a request that comes in. It can be a strain on your resources to handle that. So just doing some of these basic tools has enabled, the team that I was on, we doubled the volume that we could handle without adding a single new person. I mean, it was substantial what we could do. Absolutely. Yep. And the customer communicated that to us as well. They were just blown away by it.
Okay. Another question that I will answer. We are a nonprofit with about 10 employees and 100 active volunteers acting as directors and leads. Most use their company devices for our nonprofit work. Can you share any recommendations for orgs that use Teams, but 90% of the users have different domains? So I did phone a friend for this answer, but there is a way to set up external sharing using Azure B2B, so you can manage the permissions of those accounts. This is something that one of our architects could definitely help you plan out. And with that, Brian, I just wanted to say thank you once again for your time and all of your effort and everything that you have helped us with and helped provide to our clients and our friends that are here on the webinar with us. now that we've gone through a bit of Q&A, I would love everybody to join us again on December 2nd. We will be talking to another one of our Modern Workplace Summit panelists. We will have Katrina Wright from Vista Maria available, and we'll be digging into how their nonprofit has been able to pivot through the pandemic so that not only are they enhancing their digital transformation, but they're really embracing it as a means to help their patients as well. So again, thank you, Brian. It has been fabulous as always, and I look forward to speaking to everybody again soon.